So I want to start off by telling you why people come to me. So all of my clients they're bright, they're smart, they're ambitious, and they've put a lot of time and effort into their accomplishments. And then they have a big day, maybe they have a new website, they have a job interview, something's happening, and they are not sure if they can make all of their personality strengths visible. So they're not sure if who they are, if they can make that show up. Maybe they decide to come on their own, maybe their boss sends them. Either way, they are looking for a practical tool to understand if they are really making their real self visible. And that's what we do. Okay, can you still hear me when everyone's clapping? Thank you, okay. And so they come to me, and I'm going to take you through the very first step that we do, okay? So they come to me, and I teach them about personal branding, which is about how you can make all of your strengths visible and how you can send signals. And the first thing I want to show you, can everybody see this? No. Do you want to move around a bit so you can? Because I'm going to start, oh yeah. I'm going to move out of the way, but so you can see it. So I'm going to show you 3 women. One of these women is a kindergarten teacher, one woman is a lawyer, and one woman is a museum art director. I want to see if you can tell who's who. One woman is a lawyer, one woman is a kindergarten teacher, one woman is the director of an art museum. Can you tell? Okay. So, this is what symbols are about. It starts with symbols. If you see the daisy, words come to mind. Something like pure, organic, minimal. If you see the crown, you might be thinking wealthy or authority. And if you see the fist, you might be thinking nonconformist or rebel. Are we all on board? Okay, so you can see that if you look at these 3 cafes, they're real cafes, that they express a promise. If I look at that first cafe in Copenhagen, I probably expect to get a green smoothie. If I look at the second one in Paris, maybe I'm going to get expensive champagne. That's the promise. They can always surprise you. But we're talking about what our brain expects, okay? And if you look at the last one, it's K19 in Berlin, you might expect warm beer. Because the visual signals they're very clear and they're very predictable. We've heard about this already. So we are looking at archetypes, not stereotypes. A stereotype is something that is fixed in a single place at a time to a certain person in a certain country, place, time. Is this okay? An archetype is something that people will recognize in Berlin, the symbol of the crown, and they'll recognize it in Tehran. Is that okay? So the difference between an archetype and a stereotype is clear. So we are working with archetypes. Okay. If you go into the movies, you know that no matter how, please tell me if I'm too loud. I'm so trying to contain myself. Okay. Reverse stress. Okay. And if you look at Lupita, it does not matter how talented she is, how skilled she is, how smart she is. You will not believe that she is vulnerable if she's wearing armor. You will not believe she's a warrior if she's wearing that nightdress. So we see that how important it is in film, and we're going to bring it to us, that before a costume designer ever goes out and looks for clothes, there is a journey. There is a journey going into how do I want to show up? What is the story? How can I bring it to life? Okay? So, we see the same thing here with Cate Blanchett. As talented as she is, she cannot get us to believe that she's a queen if she's wearing that. Okay? So this is about using clothing to support who you are. All right? And this is the very first journey that I go on with clients, is figuring out what is their narrative. What is their narrative? So I'm going to show you what I do with clients. I get them to choose 2 brand archetypes, and I get them to choose pictures. Because 2 people can say creative, and they have something completely different in my mind. And I had a client recently, and she said leadership, and she didn't send a picture. And she said, it's so difficult. I said, I'll send you one, and we'll see what happens. So I sent her a picture of The Devil Wears Prada, and she's like, that's not leadership for me. And she wanted a woman standing on a mountain. So it's so important to choose your words and then choose your pictures, because your vision of what that word means is completely unique. So I'm going to just show you 3 clients. Okay, this was an executive client. What I want to say here is, can you imagine how she wanted to be at this assessment center? Can you imagine the kind of clothing that she might need? Okay. This was a client who was running a design team in a startup. And I want to make one comment here. So we have influential spiritual catalyst. And when she came to me, she was wearing pink socks. And I asked her about that, because I look at everything. And I said, tell me about this. And she said, I love pink. And I said, okay, and why pink socks and not a pink top? And she said to me something that I hear very often. Do you not think that might be too much? And we are to encourage each other today. There is no too much. Somebody may have told us that, but we will not tell each other that. And sometimes we think that the biggest thing we can do is we can buy a house or we can change jobs. Sometimes being true to something like wearing pink that is scary the first time you do it, that is big. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, and my last client, I'm going to show you. Can you imagine, these are other colors and other criteria. And so they come with 6 pictures, I've chosen 3. And we're always here looking between, this is what she chose for respected, a pilot, she's not, she's in a startup. And this is what she chose for bright. So we have this criteria about how she wants to show up to be respected, and how she wants to come into the world and be bright. Does that make sense? So we are not going to do this step here because we don't all have Pinterest in front of us. But what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you want to go on this journey after you've chosen your words, which we're going to do in a second, is to set up a Pinterest account and choose your 6 photos. Because only you know what bright means for you. Only you know what respected, only you know what intense means. And there is, as we've been hearing the whole day, there is a story in those pictures. The first session I do with my clients is we're on phone, and for 1 hour they talk and I take notes. And I do it on the phone and not in person, because it's just simply for them to go into their world and speak it out. Okay? So you can do this with someone. These are her stories. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do something. Yes. Good.
Basically, you start with the words that you want, and then you find the pictures that match it, or you find pictures and then
So you start with the words. We're going to do this in just a minute. I'm going to give you a sheet, and you're going to start with the words. Once you've chosen the words, and I usually allow about 2 weeks for this, okay? Because you've got to go back and check, are those my words? Then you set up your Pinterest account. Maybe you just brainstorm and you have 50 pictures. And then you narrow it down because it's always a process of focus and editing. Okay? For today, because you don't have pictures, welcome. We're going to use color. So I'm going to hand you something out and I'll tell you what you're going to do. Come back to that. You're going to choose 2 archetypes. You'll see in a minute. You're going to choose archetype 1 and archetype 2. And then you're going to choose for each archetype 3 words. Is this okay? 3 words and 3 words. And then you're going to choose your top 3 words. Because we're always looking for the tension that is within you. Just as we saw the tension between that respected and bright, we're looking for the tension that is within you, okay? And one comment, very often when I hand out the pages, and I'll do it now because we'll just see this, one comment. I have English and German, because I don't know how many people we are. Maybe we can start. Can anyone do German? Because I think I might run out of English. So I'll just pass the German ones back or over. I do want to say a shout to Ellen. She is a text consultant. She's amazing, and she did the German words for me, so thank you. Text consult and executive coach, and you can add anything in there and all between. Okay. So, 1 word, and then you're going to find yours. People, thank you, often say to me, but Lisa, I'm a little bit of the rebel, and I'm a little bit of the creative, and I'm a little bit of the caregiver, and we're looking for 2. This is what is going to happen to your closet if you are a little bit of everything. Okay? You will be the dream of every shop. This is about saying, this is what I'm focusing on. 2. What is the 2 where the most tension is? So I would like to ask you to take 5 minutes. First of all, we're going to do it alone. We'll then come into pairs. And just choose, I'll go back, these 2. So this is the visioning before we ever get to wardrobe or color or anything. Any questions? Yeah. I'm doing this in a professional context. Yeah, with women. But it should be also the essence and core of who you are. Is it okay? Sorry? So choose 2 boxes. Those will be your 2 archetypes. And then within those boxes, 3 words and 3 words. And when you've got the 3 words, your top 3, reduce it down. Yeah. And it's a mix. We're looking for the tension that is within you, as we saw with the other one, between the bright and the respected. We're looking for a tension. If this isn't easy, that is okay. This is a 2-week process with clients, but we're jump-starting it today. Okay.
Can we just use these 6 words or the other words?
Okay. That's an excellent question. Can we just use those 6? This is an overview. When I have a 40-page document for this for clients, and there are thousands of words. If you've got other words, if you have another brand archetype, I am always starting you on this journey. But if you can come up with something else, please do. Is this okay? So you can take those from the words there. If you want to add to the list, if something's missing, go for it, please. Now, how are we going to do this? Okay, when you have that, I've got to think how I'm going to do this easily. It's more, I just want to spread it out. So, if you've done your MBTI and you are a P like me, it's harder to choose than if you're a J, okay? Or if you're an I because you like options, okay? But it's about focus. When you're done, because we don't have the chance to choose color, to choose photos, I would like you to choose 2 colors from this group. So you're going to come and think about this archetype is this color, or this word is this color, and this one is this. So I want you to choose 2 colors. Is this okay? Come up to the front, and you're going to choose 2 colors. And you can think about, is this an archetype, or is this for a word? But 2 colors. Sometimes people like to take 3, and I won't stop you, okay? Yeah. Just a minute. It's all okay. The people who are done can go get their color. For some people, for some of my clients, this is a 2-week process, you know, because you got to think about it, and then you wake up the next morning and you say, so, yeah. Okay.
I probably do that. I don't know the codes.
But you can think for today. You know, you can think for today and then go home and change it. For those of you who are thinking, I had a client recently, a psychologist, and she chose the word resourceful. And then I didn't get it from any of her pictures. And I said, do you think we should phone? And I said, is this the right word? Or is there another word? And she said, can I choose exciting? And I said, of course. And she said, oh, thank you, Lisa. She said, my whole family is resourceful. And when I hear this word, my heart just sinks. So we are giving each other permission today to just choose for today where your heart sings. This is not about what's possible, because we know that everything is possible. So go with your heart where it sings and not which you think you ought to choose. Is that okay? We heard Tanisha tell us this morning. It's where your heart sings. You got your 2 colors. And then I would like you to find a partner. To find a partner, somebody that you haven't spoken to so far. And I want you to share what you've chosen and why. And then vice versa. Okay, so you've got a partner. This is someone that you haven't worked with so far, and you're sharing why you've chosen these archetypes, these words, and these colors. Okay, can you put the headsets back on, everybody? Hello? Okay, can we put the headsets back on just for a moment, and then we're going to go back to our group. Where's my... Does anybody have am I still hearable? I'm so quiet. Okay. Does anybody have a question before I continue? Maybe you have a question? Would you like something?
No.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Everything's clear so far. So far. So what I'd like to show you now, so you've had time to choose your 6 pictures. In this case, you did it with your colors. Choose your word. And you're going to sleep on it and figure out if it's right. We're going to do another exercise because we can't sleep on it. But one of the questions that sometimes comes up, so I want to show you this. Okay. This is an example. In this first picture here, yeah, I'll let you move over. In this first picture here, in the middle is Carine Roitfeld, and she is the editor of Paris Vogue. So she doesn't dress the way Power dresses at Facebook. Is that okay? She doesn't. What is important here is it's not a right or a wrong. It's a choice. And you may say I work with both. On some occasions, I want to work with the structure that's there or that's in my industry, and other times I feel comfortable breaking it. It's a choice, and it's essential to be intentional, or that happens. And that is what every shop wants. You will walk in, they will put a mannequin in the window, you came to get a black belt, and you walk out with a green dress. And so it's about a choice. There's no right or wrong. It's a choice. I want to follow. I want to break. These are my words. These are my pictures. Just as in a film, before you buy clothing, you want to know what is the story that I want to tell. So what I'd like to do right now, because we don't have this chance to sleep on it. So we know that confidence comes from a couple of things. It comes from mastery. Mastery is also, I know how I want to show up. I have the skill of understanding how I want to show up. And it comes a lot from social persuasion, being encouraged. So I would ask you now, with your partner, you've heard how your partner wants to show up. So I would like you to use, if my partner is Maria's sitting here and she's told me how she wants to show up. And I do this on the phone, but we're going to do it live, is I repeat back to people what I've heard. So my name is Maria, and I am the rebel and the creative. And these are my words, and I'm choosing to show up in the world like this because it's really going to help me feel confident. It's going to help me feel creative. It's going to help me feel nonconformist, whatever it is. So I want you, with your partner, to use their name, because when we hear this, then you can say, do you know what? I don't want that word. I want another word. Or you can say, that's it. So I want you to feed back verbally what you've heard, and watch the other person. Are they nodding? Are they saying this is it? And if you sense that they're not, so really be attentive for clues. If you sense on one word they're kind of smiling, and on one word they're like, just say, what's with this word? Okay, has everybody got it? With your neighbor, you're feeding back what you heard. They're either nodding or looking confused. Either way, you're attentive and you're helping them. Go for it. Question? Okay, can we come back for a second, everybody? Put the headphones on, and we're going to come back for a minute. Headphones. 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 Okay. I got a question that I get very often. Your name is? Denitsa. And the question was, the question is, how do I choose? How do I know? Okay? How do I choose the archetypes? How do I know which archetype? And like with this psychologist who chose the word resourceful and then realized it exhausted her just looking at this word, you're going to take this home with you. And the judge is, does it make my heart sing? Ellen, do these words make your heart sing? Colors do. Okay. So if it doesn't make your heart sing, and like this psychologist, she said, you know, her family is in Mexico, and they have been proud of being resourceful for generations. This is a wonderful thing. But you don't have to choose a word that your mom and dad would approve of. That's not why we're here. And it's wonderful if they are resourceful. But we have heard, as you spoke today, Camille, about pleasure. And as this is it. You choose the words that give you pleasure to hear, that when you see that up on your wall every morning, you think, yes. You don't want to choose a word that your mom loves, bless her soul, or that your sister likes, or your boyfriend or husband loves. You want to look at these, because we know that everything is created twice. It's created once in the mind and then in reality. We heard that about the nail polish. I had an idea, I had a dream, and then. So you want words that are going to lift you up, and if you do this, you will find that in a conservative company, you have rulers, but you have rebels, and you have creatives, and you have caregivers, and you have passionates, and it's our job to find this out, because this is the journey. When I work with people, I say, for the next 3 months as we work together, no buying clothes. We know that on a film, somebody doesn't call up a designer and say, I'm doing this film. She says, oh, okay, I'll go get the clothes. No, she has to find out what is the story, what's the atmosphere. So this is not about buying. You won't be able to buy well for you unless you have a vision. And it is a vision that gives you hope. It's a vision that makes your heart sing. Ah, this is me. So, because we are coming to the end of this, and I'm really going to try. Last year I went over on time. I did 2 workshops and I went over, so I bought a watch. And I'm going to stick to time. So what is the next step? Once you've slept on it, spoke with your neighbor, said, these are my words, what would the next step be? And during the break, so I didn't invent archetypes. They've been around for 2,000 years, from Plato to Carl Jung, to help people go deeper and understand more. What I did do is, I have a background in fashion. That doesn't help. So I have a background in image consulting, and I have a background in personal branding. That helps. And I created 12 style archetypes. They're only about the shape of the clothing. Is this okay? When I'm talking about style as in silhouette, I've created 12 silhouette archetypes. And most people have 4. I've not yet met anyone who said, I want to be all. But it's also interesting to know, and I had a woman come to me and she said, this happens actually quite often, but a woman said, you know, clothing doesn't matter in our company. A year passed and she called me up, and it was a big German foundation, and they wanted to put her to the head. And then she said, you won't believe what's happened. They asked me to look more executive. She said, I thought they didn't care about clothing. And often we make the mistake of, if we don't like what our boss wears, we think clothes don't matter. Your boss may be the queen boss, and you may be the nomad or the rebel. It is all possible. It's just good to know what it is. So I wish you so much joy on this journey and developing your vision, and to go where your heart leads you and what makes you sing.